In the dead of night, when everything is quiet, Rose suddenly bolts out of their house. She's frantic and anxious because she needs to find her adopted daughter, Sharon. Her voice echoes through the still night as she calls out for Sharon. Then Rose finds herself by a river that leads her down a winding path. The river becomes more and more treacherous as she follows it, and soon she's standing on the edge of a cliff with a roaring waterfall. Her heart is pounding because on the other side of the cliff, she spots Sharon. Sharon is not aware of the danger. She seems to be sleepwalking and moving closer to the edge. As we see things from Sharon's eyes, the cliff is no ordinary cliff. It's like a portal to another world, a chaotic place with no ground beneath. Suddenly, a creepy little girl with hollow eyes appears from the shadows. She's eerily whispering, trying to lure Sharon to jump. Rose's eyes widen in terror. She knows she must act fast. Ignoring the danger to herself, she sprints and makes a desperate leap towards Sharon. Her arms wrap around her daughter just in time, pulling her back from the edge. As Rose holds Sharon tightly, something strange happens. Sharon starts screaming, "Silent Hill, Silent Hill," over and over again. It's like a sinister spirit had taken hold of her, determining they should go to this mysterious place called Silent Hill. Suddenly, Christopher, Rose's husband, appears out of nowhere. His face is lined with worry, but his voice is calm and steady. He embraces Rose and Sharon, reassuring them they are all safe now and everything will be all right. 2 years have zoomed by and we see Rose and Sharon in a field full of flowers under the bright sun. Rose decides it's the perfect moment to tell Sharon about a trip they are going to take. They are going to a place called Silent Hill. Rose explains that Sharon talks about this place in her sleep, almost like she's being called there. But Sharon is confused because she doesn't remember saying anything about Silent Hill. It seems that when she sleepwalks, a spooky spirit takes control and speaks through her body. Now let's take a peek at what Christopher, Sharon's dad, is doing. He's trying to call Rose and Sharon, but they're not picking up. He looks annoyed and worried because he didn't know they were going on a trip. He snoops around on Rose's computer and his eyes widen. He discovers they're heading to Silent Hill, which is known to be a creepy, haunted ghost town. Meanwhile, Rose and Sharon are on the road driving towards this mysterious place. They stop at a gas station to fuel up and grab some snacks. Rose calls Christopher and tells him why they're going to Silent Hill. He gets really worried and says Sharon should see a doctor, but Rose is stubborn and believes that doctors and medicines won't help. She thinks the answers lie in Silent Hill, and that's why they need to go there to solve the mystery of Sharon's sleepwalking. Then Rose jumps back in the car and continues driving through winding mountain roads. Out of the blue, a lady police officer named Sybil pulls up behind them with her lights flashing. Rose stops the car, but then she spots a sign that says Silent Hill is super close. She turns to Sharon, tells her to fasten her seatbelt, and then floors it. The car zooms away, leaving Sybil in the dust. Rose drives so fast that she zips through a locked gate. Out of nowhere, a ghostly Dahlia, a homeless resident of the town, welcomes them to the haunted town as she appears in the middle of their road. Rose swerves to avoid hitting her, and crash! The car slams into the side of the road. Everything goes quiet as dust settles around the car crashed on the edge of Silent Hill. The next morning, Rose's eyes flicker open. She's in the car, which is banged up from the crash. She panics when she sees Sharon isn't there. The air is thick with fog and ashes are falling like snowflakes from the sky. It is super spooky. Rose jumps out of the car and starts looking for Sharon. She hurries down the foggy streets of what looks like an old ghost town. Suddenly, she spots a little girl who looks just like Sharon darting around the corner. She runs after her and ends up being at a long set of stairs going down to a dark basement. The air gets heavy and she hears a really loud siren. Everything goes pitch black. She fumbles for her lighter and sparks it up to see where she's going. The light flickers on a man wearing a weird suit, but he's all messed up, like he got attacked by something. Rose freaks out big time and starts running away. But wait, she turns around and there are these creepy little zombie kids that look all burnt up. shuffling towards her. Just as she thinks she's done for, poof, they vanish into thin air. The next day, Rose is still wandering around the empty streets calling Sharon's name. She runs into Dahlia. They talk and realize they both lost their kids. But when Rose shows her a picture of Sharon, Dahlia tries to grab it. Rose snatches it back. Then she leaves a voicemail for Christopher to tell him what's happening. But right then, Sybil, the police officer from before, shows up and thinks Rose did something bad to Sharon. She tries to slap handcuffs on her. At the same time, Christopher's racing towards Silent Hill. He gets the voicemail, but it's all garbled and makes no sense. When he gets to the town gate, another cop stops him. They realize they're both looking for people in the ghost town, as the cop was also looking for his colleague, and they decide to team up. Back in the ghost town, just as Sybil's about to cuff Rose, a huge, scary monster pops out of nowhere. The cop unloads her gun into it until it stops moving. Rose uses this moment to make a break for it and heads for a school building. Inside the house, Rose tiptoes around. She spots some dudes in those weird suits walking around. She sneaks into another building and just like before, sees a girl that looks like Sharon running by. She gives chase and ends up in a bathroom. There, she finds a body all wrapped up in barbed wire. She pulls something out of its mouth which could be a clue for Sharon's whereabouts. Suddenly, the dudes in suits find her. She locks the bathroom door, but they're banging and trying to break in. Then something weird happens. A bird chirps, and they all take off running, as if they're scared of something. That siren blares again, and now Rose understands that when it gets dark, some evil thing terrorizes the town. The room comes alive with horror. The body in the barbed wire moves. Bugs crawl out of the walls. Rose bolts out of there and finds herself by a fiery pit. She sees a little girl who's not Sharon, but named Alessa, angrily drawing pictures. But when Alessa looks up, Rose tumbles out of a window. She sees a scary dude with a ginormous sword coming, so she scrambles to her feet and sprints to another building. Meanwhile, Christopher and the cop make it to the school in Silent Hill. Guess what? They're in the same place as Rose, but can't see her. It's like Rose is stuck in a spooky, ghostly version of Silent Hill, and they are in the normal, not-so-spooky one. They can't bump into each other because they're in different worlds. Back to Rose. She's in the school, but she's so tired she can't run anymore. Eek, here come those yucky cockroaches crawling all over her. But just in time, Sybil shows up and pulls her into a room. They slam the door shut, but that big scary guy with the sword, the Slaughterman, is hacking at the door trying to get in. Suddenly, he and all the creepy things vanish, and the place looks normal. It seems when the sun comes up, the nightmares end. Then Rose and Sybil decide to keep looking for Sharon. They have a clue from the thing Rose found earlier, and it takes them to a hotel. Inside, they see a lady named Anna chucking rocks at Dahlia. Anna says that Dahlia's a witch and bad news. Then, surprise, Alessa appears again. Rose takes off after her and ends up by a pit. Alessa's on fire, and then poof, she's gone again. A bird zips out of the pit, and oh no, that means it's nightmare time again. Rose, Sybil, and Anna sprint to a church. Turns out the church is like a safe zone where the evil stuff cannot get in. Inside, Anna runs back to throw more rocks at Dahlia. Bad move. The Slaughterman shows up and, well, let's just say she won't be throwing rocks anymore. The church doors slam shut. Inside the church, a growing wave of anger from the cults loom towards Rose and Sybil. Fueled by baseless notions of witchcraft and evil intent, the cults direct their rage towards the two women. In a firm and decisive move, the hoe fires her last bullet, filling the air with a loud gunshot. Her intention is to quiet the voices of accusation and briefly restore a sense of peace amidst the chaos. Then Christabella, a lady who seems to be in charge, tells everyone they have to pray super hard to keep the evil out. After they're done praying, Rose begs Christabella to help her find Sharon. Christabella says Rose has to face the big bad demon if she wants to find her. So off they go to a hospital with a bunch of people wearing those weird suits. Christabella shows Rose where the demon is on a map. As Rose gets on an elevator, Christabella sees Rose's necklace with Sharon's picture on it. She freaks out and tells everyone to grab Rose because they think Sharon's a witch too. Sybil fights them off and helps Rose get down the elevator. Downstairs in the gloomy building, Rose is fervently searching room to room. The dim lights flicker and her heart pounds in her chest as she's determined to find the devil that might lead her to Sharon. As events unfold upstairs, Sybil finds herself in grave peril. Devoid of ammunition, she stands defenseless against the relentless assault of an angry mob that closes in around her, intensifying the imminent danger she faces. So, Rose finds herself in this creepy room where the demonic voice tells her everything about Silent Hill's dark past. Back then, everyone in town thought Alessa was a witch, and they really didn't like her because she was born without her mom getting married, as this was deemed sinful and dirty in the minds of the residents. Guess what? Alessa's mom is actually that lady Dahlia who was cast out because she had Alessa and wasn't married. Then the cult leader Christabella tricked Dahlia into thinking they had to cleanse Alessa with fire after a terrible thing happened to her at school, where she got assaulted. The townspeople took Alessa to a hotel room and tried to burn her in some kind of crazy ritual, labeling the process as cleansing the town. But, whoops, the fire went nuts and burned the whole place down. After the fire settled, Alessa was found barely alive, but really hurt as she was practically burned. Alessa was so mad she made a deal with a demon to get back at everyone. Her soul split in two. One half was angry Alessa, and the other half was nice Alessa. The nice part went into a baby who turned out to be Sharon, and Rose and her husband adopted her. Suddenly, Alessa appears in the room and tells Rose that the crazy cult people want to burn Sharon, just like they did to her. Alessa's demonic side somehow goes into Rose so she can stop them. Meanwhile, the cult folks grab Sharon from Dahlia's house. Dahlia's been hiding her to keep her safe, but Christabella figured it out. They make a huge fire to burn Sharon and the cop Sybil. They tie Sybil up and she's burned alive. Now they're getting ready to burn Sharon, but wait, here comes Rose. She steps in and tells them they're super evil for hurting a little girl. Tempered, they stab Rose. When Rose's blood spills onto the floor, a profound transformation occurs. As the demon is unleashed from within her, its malevolent presence now extending through the confines of the church. The church turns into a nightmare and a pit opens up. Up comes Alessa, wrapped in scary wires, looking like she means business. She freaks out the cult people and grabs Christabella with the wires. The wires do some really nasty stuff to Christabella and then go after the rest of the cult people. It is chaos. The wires and Alessa take care of the bad guys one by one until they are all gone. Alessa got her revenge thanks to the scary demon powers. The town's dark secret is out, and the bad folks got what was coming to them. The next morning, the sun comes up and Rose and Sharon slowly wake up. They're kinda dazed, but relieved. It feels like the big, scary adventure is finally over. They step out of the church, leaving Dahlia behind. They hop into their car and start driving back home. As they drive, Rose is probably thinking about how much she misses home and cannot wait to see Christopher, her husband. However, Sharon's lying down, all quiet. You can tell they're just happy to leave that spooky town behind. But when they get home, something's off. The place is covered in fog. It's like Silent Hill never really left them. The house looks empty and kinda ghostly. They go inside, but it feels like they're the only people in the world. It's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Meanwhile, let's switch to Christopher. He's at the same house, but in the real world where everything is normal. He's been waiting for Rose and Sharon, looking out the window every now and then, hoping to see their car pull up. But it's like they're just not there. In the end, we realize that Rose and Sharon are still stuck in some weird, foggy version of the world, like an alternate dimension. They're home, but not really. Christopher's in the real world, and he can't see them. It's so sad, because they are so close, yet so far away. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.